my child of God reminder fell off. I couldn't find it. Natalie Albury gave me hers. Thank you, Natalie. Therefore, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us also lay aside the weight and the sin that clings so tightly, and let us run with perseverance the race that is set before us. A small giant of a man, William James, was born March 29th, 1908, in a tiny Texas town. W.J., as he was called in his early life, became an itinerant minister in the Assembly of God Church, and he faithfully served congregations in Missouri, Illinois, and Indiana for over 60 years. But I was privileged to call this man Grandpa. The birth and life of William James have impacted and continue to impact my life in ways that I may never fully understand. In his early 30s, William James committed his life to Christ and to ministry on nearly the same day. He enrolled in Central Bible College and was soon ordained to ministry in the Assembly of God Church. Brother James, as most would call him, was the patriarch of faith in the Shivers family. Grandpa was my earliest model of what it meant to be a minister. He lived his life and his call on a daily basis before his family and his parishioners alike. His influence and the ripples of his ministry and his faith have touched 4 generations, and I'm confident will touch many, many, many more. Therefore, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, from as early as I can remember, Beulah May Shivers, my grandmother and wife of William James, had a habit of introducing me, her youngest grandchild, to friends and congregants alike with this phrase: "This is my little angel, who will be a minister one day." And from as early as I can remember, I hated it. In fact, at 16 years of age, when Jennifer and I started dating, yes, we were high school sweethearts, I brought her along with me to a family get-together to meet the extended family. My grandmother, God bless her, with all sincerity and candor, seized the opportunity and asked my 16-year-old girlfriend, "Honey, what do you think about being a minister's wife?" I wanted to crawl into a hole. And poor Jennifer, I think she would have run home if she could have found the way. And I still find it hard to believe that after all these years, Jennifer has stayed with my sometimes wacky, but always entertaining family. Therefore, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, my father, James Shivers, a PK, preacher's kid, carried the torch of faith into my family. His faith and his life shaped my own faith development in ways that I'm still discovering today. His willingness to ask the tough questions of himself and his faith, the kindness in this man's eyes, the passion in his life, the love in his words, and the compassion in his hands challenged me to grow into a faith that is alive and vital. At 17, my father, in typical fashion, asked me a question that has continued to help form and inform my faith and calling on my life. His question was, "Son, what difference does it make that you're a Christian?" I'm not sure how I answered that since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses. This may seem to be an unusual way to tell the story of my journey of faith. However, I can think of no better manner in which to tell it. In fact, I would be kidding myself and all of you this morning if I thought that my faith and calling into ministry is not inexorably linked to the lives of these saints who lived out their faith and life with me. I was at a wedding not long ago, and the minister asked the bride and groom during the meditation to turn around and face the congregation. Then she said, "Now imagine that the doors were open and the rows of seats continued far out onto the horizon as far as the eye could see. Then imagine those pews filled with people. And these aren't just any ordinary people," she said. "These are the people who have been a part of your life. They have helped shape you. They are the ones who nurtured you." So today, I ask you to do the same. If you were to turn around and look at the doors of this sanctuary and imagine that these pews cascaded out all the way through Anderson, out onto the horizon as far as your eyes could see. And then if you could imagine those pews filled with people, not just any ordinary people who taught you about faith, people who nurtured your call into ministry. And I imagine that those pews and those faces for each one of us go on and on and on. Your great cloud of witnesses. Can you see them? When I consider this day and the fact that I'm actually standing in this pulpit and all that it means, that's what I see. I see row upon row of people who've had a hand in getting me to this point. I wish that time would allow me to mention each one of them by name, but I'm sure that I would leave people out, like Jerry Pattengale, my youth minister from College Wesleyan Church. This man of faith helped me, a high school athlete, understand that the grace of God in Jesus Christ is for everyone, even a confused teenager from Marion, Indiana. Or Dr. Gary Newton, my advisor in college, who encouraged me to get involved in ministry to youth at Westminster Presbyterian Church in my hometown while I was still a college student. Or following college, I was led to accept a call at Second Presbyterian Church as the director of youth and college ministry after much prodding and more than a little prayer by my friend and my mentor, Dr. Robin Chaddock, who's here today. And throughout the succeeding 21 years, this congregation and this staff have supported, encouraged, and influenced me as God continues to reveal a more complete picture of the call placed on my life. Faith and ministry examples like Howard Stone, Ray Bowden, Tom Walker, Joe Malick, Bill Enright, Louis Galloway. Those people have had more than a little bit of a significant role in helping me understand myself, my gifts, and the call that God has placed upon my life to serve. All of this, and I haven't even mentioned my seminary professors, my colleagues, and the literally hundreds of young people with whom I've had the privilege of working row on row on row. Therefore, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, the call on my life to ministry of word and sacrament is one that has involved a lot of time, too much time, according to some. a lot of different voices, and a significant amount of prayer. Through this process, I've come to understand the expression of God's call on my life is continuing and will continue to unfold. And one might ask, like one of the questions I was asked earlier, where do you sense God calling you now, or how will that call deepen now? Since the age of 17, I've sensed God's call on my life to ministry with and among young people. Throughout this process of ordination, this call has only deepened and grown. And I cannot tell you exactly where it will lead in the future, but I can tell you that it is definitely where it has led me in the present. I am called to minister to, with, and among the young people of the church. I believe this to be a lifelong call, but I do not know how it will continue to develop as the ministry of my life does the same. I will never fully arrive at completely understanding my call into ministry, or myself, for that matter. There will always be a certain mysterious quality about both. However, I humbly and fearfully step into the depths of these mysteries, relying on the strength of the one who is called. I'm humbled by this day, and by the time spent with you, and I'm grateful. I'm grateful to the great cloud of witnesses, of which all of you are now a part, who have led me to this place and this time. And yes, I admit, somewhere in the back of my mind, I hear this voice that says, "This is my little angel, who will be a minister."